Welcome to my channel, The Flix Judge, where you will get detailed reviews and honest ratings of global movies and OTT series so that you can watch only the best content worthy of your time. Today we will review the movie Pushpa 2, The Rule. The movie has almost the same cast as part 1, like Allu Arjun as Pushpa, Rashmika Mandanna as Srivalli, his wife, Fahadh Faasil as Bhamar Singh Rathod, the police SP who has a major grudge against Pa, and a host of other side characters. Music is by Devi Sri Prasad and it is written and directed by Sukumar. With a runtime of more than 3.25 hours, let's see what is so earth shattering that the director believes we should not miss that the movie is running even during and after the end credits. Pushpa 2 continues along the same lines as that of part 1, so it is better to have watched part 1 before you watch this one. However, there isn't anything new by way of story in this installment. In part 1, Pushpa, who was a smuggler coolie, becomes some kind of a local mafia business leader. In part 2, he takes his local business international with an opening sequence apparently in Japan. In part 1, he was dealing with the MLAs and MPs. In part 2, he deals with the chief minister and central ministers. In part 1, he woos and marries Srivalli. Now they are expecting a child. In part 1, the family of his father's first wife don't recognize him or his legitimacy. In this part 2, the same ill treatment continues. However, after some fights, arguments, and murders, the families unite and Pushpa gains the legitimacy that he always wanted. In part 1, there were some key villains like Mangalam Srinu and SP Bhamar Singh Rathod who caused him and his business a lot of trouble. In this part also, the same continues. And again, he adopts very similar tactics to defeat his enemies. In this part, some old enemies are bumped off and some new enemies are introduced. We are shown that these enemies will cause trouble for Pushpa in part 3. In part 1, he grows from a coolie who cuts down red sandalwood trees for the mafia to becoming the head of the local mafia unit. None of the other smugglers are gangsters, and even the police could touch him. In this installment, he is transformed from a mafia don into a demigod, an avatar of God. He literally wears clothes resembling that of Ma Durga or Kali and even wields the Trishul while he dances or fights. There is actually a scene where even a three-headed snake is shown on top of his head. There is even a dialogue like, Pushpa, you provide everything people want. So why do you need anything from God? The level of hubris is unbelievable. The only thing I am curious is that if Pushpa has become a god in part 2 itself, what will he become in part 3 or part 4? I guess only the director knows, and even God cannot know because Pushpa is already a god. In this world created by director Sukumar, there are no good guys. Everyone seems to be a smuggler or a gangster. Pushpa, the people who work for him, his competitors, everyone. Beyond that, we have corrupt police, MLAs, MPs, and central ministers. All of them are a party to this. There is no one who says smuggling or cutting down trees is bad. There is no journalist or a single policeman who calls out or goes after the dozens of murders that are committed. Literally, no character who finds fault with what Pushpa does. Even his mother, wife, literally no one calls him out. They actually cheer him on. In fact, there is a hilarious scene where Pushpa goes to the local police station, calls all the cops, and calculates the salary, years of service left, pension, and the bribes they receive every month by every policeman and pays them off as a one time settlement. All of them just line up, collect the money, resign their jobs, and go away. So there is no police left in the town anymore. This is the kind of absurd world Kumar has created. And if you thought this was ridiculous as I did, then you are mistaken. For these very scenes are the ones welcomed by Allu Arjun fans with great claps and whistles in the theatre. What can I say? Of course, the director will keep making this and Pushpa 3 and Pushpa 4 and so on. The background score and songs, dances, and the item number are almost exactly the same as in part 1. Devisri Prasad, as usual, uses 150 instruments and tests the limits of your eardrums with not even 1 second of respite from this non stop assault. Everything in this movie is an overdose. The director has not heard or does not believe in the saying, less is more. If it is lorries, there will be 100. If it is a bullock cart, there will be 200 of them. If there are boats, there will be 500 boats. If Pushpa goes to the temple, there will be 1,000 people, as if it is always some kind of festival. He will only smuggle 2,000 tons of sandalwood, deal in thousands of crores. If he dances, there will be 100 people along with him. If he fights, he will fight only with 200 people. In fact, the movie is filled with stunt sequences, ranging from the very generic to the totally absurd. For example, in part 1, there is a gang which ties up Pushpa's hands and he will fight only with his feet. In part 2, the same gang ties up both his hands and feet. And what does Pushpa do? He fights with his teeth. I'm not kidding. These absurdities should be seen to be believed. Again, I wonder what will happen in part 3 if the same gang now ties up his mouth also. Will he fight just by blinking? Or maybe he will breathe strongly and the gangsters will just fly away? I'm sure Allu Arjun fans are waiting with bated breath. As far as acting goes, the entire movie is on the shoulders of Allu Arjun. He alone carries the total weight of the hundreds of crores spent on this movie. Maybe that is why his shoulders are a bit crooked. Well, anyways, Allu Arjun's fans won't be disappointed as the actor gives his all, be it the punches or the punch dialogues or dance moves. The effort shows. However, since no other character has been developed, they all fall flat even though they are played by accomplished actors. I personally felt very sad that the highly talented Fahad Faasil is totally wasted in such a dummy role, which is more of a caricature than an actual villain. So, what is the verdict? This movie is for fans of Allu Arjun, or if you had watched movies like KGF or Pushpa Part 1 and liked it, or if you are generally a fan of the over the top Telugu superstar movies, then you should go to the theater and watch it with the crowds. You will thoroughly enjoy it. Else, if you look for a decent plot line, well developed characters, some logic, etc., well, it is better that you avoid this. I don't think I am qualified to give any rating for this movie. See you again with another review. Until then, bye and happy viewing. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I go through hours and hours of content so that you can watch only the very best ones in your precious free time. Thank you.